Are Stoics cold-hearted? Do they reject love, suppress lust, avoid romance altogether? Or is there a deeper truth? One that understands love beyond fantasy and lust beyond impulse? In this video, we uncover how Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus viewed love and lust. Their views might just challenge everything you believe about relationships and yourself. Love, the most romantic word in human language, and also the most misunderstood. Lust, the most powerful biological drive, and the most dangerous if uncontrolled. The ancient Stoics didn't write fairy tales. They wrote reality. They weren't cold, they were clear. They weren't emotionless, they were intentional. Today, we explore Stoicism's raw, honest, and often surprising views on love and lust. By the end of this video, you'll see how the Stoic way can save you from heartbreak, obsession, and false fantasies, and help you experience love in its purest form. Number 1. The Stoics didn't reject love, they redefined it. There's a misconception floating around that Stoics were cold, emotionless, and allergic to love. But that's far from the truth. Stoicism never asked men to reject love. It asked them to purify it. The Stoics understood that love, in its raw, undisciplined form, can be intoxicating and dangerous. It can make men desperate, blind, and weak if it's driven by fantasy and neediness. That kind of love, the one where you lose yourself trying to possess someone else, is not strength, it's slavery. And the Stoics had no time for chains. Marcus Aurelius didn't speak of love like a man hiding from it. He spoke of it as a man who mastered it. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. To love, he said, because to a Stoic, love isn't something that owns you. It's something you give freely and from a place of inner power. Love to a Stoic is built on respect, on virtue, on freedom, not on possession, not on obsession, and not on weakness. Think of the man who chases a woman just to fill a void in himself. That man isn't in love. He's trying to escape his own emptiness. But the man who stands tall, who leads with purpose, who chooses love without needing it to complete him, that man is dangerous in the best way. Seneca said, "Love in its essence is spiritual fire. But if you're not grounded, fire doesn't just warm you, it burns you to ash." So the Stoic doesn't fear love, he just refuses to bow to it. He lets it in only when it aligns with his virtue, not his weakness. Because real love shouldn't make a man smaller, it should make him more. Number 2. Lust was seen as a dangerous distraction. In the eyes of the Stoics, lust wasn't just a fleeting desire, it was a test of your inner strength. They didn't condemn it as evil, but they warned that when lust takes the wheel, reason gets thrown in the trunk. Why? Because lust has a way of hijacking the mind. It blinds you. It convinces you to chase a moment of pleasure at the cost of long-term dignity. What begins as a craving for connection turns into a surrender of self-control. And, to the Stoic, man, there is no greater failure than being a slave to anything, especially to your own desires. Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." Lust, by its very nature, demands control over you. It whispers lies. Just one more night, just one more glance, just this once. But every time you obey, you hand over a piece of your power. Imagine a man who builds his empire, disciplines his body, sharpens his mind, and then watches it all burn because he couldn't master one instinct. That's not tragic, that's weak. The Stoics believed that if your mind is your fortress, lust is the fire that can slip through the cracks when the guards fall asleep. This doesn't mean you pretend lust doesn't exist. You're human, you feel it. So did Marcus Aurelius, so did every Stoic, but they mastered it. not by fighting it, but by standing above it. They observed it, they let it pass. And in that pause, that moment of restraint, they proved their strength. Real masculinity isn't about how many women you can seduce. It's about how many temptations you can stare in the face without flinching. If you want to lead yourself, rule your mind. And if you want to rule your mind, don't let lust lead. It'd be the man who owns his urges, not the man owned by them. Number 3, love must align with virtue. Seneca knew what most modern men forget, that real love is not about how someone makes you feel, it's about what someone brings out of you. In Stoicism, love that does not elevate your character is not love at all, it's a mirage. Seneca warned us that love must be rooted in virtue, the highest form of strength, not fantasy, lust, or obsession. When he said, "Love in its highest form desires the good of the beloved above all," he was stripping love of its ego and possessiveness. He was calling us to love in a way that makes both souls stronger. Think about it. How many men chase women who drain their focus, hijack their purpose, and leave them emotionally bankrupt? You see it all the time. A man with dreams, suddenly detouring into chaos because he's addicted to a woman who brings drama, not peace. That's not love. That's emotional slavery. Stoic love doesn't pull you off your path. It walks beside you on it. If she doesn't encourage your discipline, your values, your self-mastery, then you're not in love, you're in bondage. And Stoicism is a philosophy of freedom, not captivity. Epictetus warned us, if you want to be free, then wish for nothing that depends on another. That includes love. If your peace depends on her moods, her validation, her presence, you've lost yourself. Real love should anchor you, not sink you. It should be a force that calls out your inner emperor, not your inner addict. So ask yourself, man to man, is the love you have sharpening your virtue or slowly killing it? Because any love that demands you betray your values is not love. It's weakness dressed in desire. Number 4, attachment was seen as a source of suffering. This is the part of Stoicism that punches you in the gut. It's where philosophy stops being a motivational quote on Instagram and starts cutting into how you live. The Stoics didn't say, love was weakness, they said attachment was. There's a difference. You can love someone with all your soul, but the moment you cling to them, the moment you fear losing them more than you fear losing yourself, you're no longer loving, you're chained. And chains hurt, chains break. Epictetus gave a brutal but brilliant example. When you kiss your child or your wife, say to yourself, I am kissing a mortal. That way, if they die, you will not be disturbed. At first glance, that sounds like a psychopath talking, but dig deeper. He's not saying don't feel, he's saying feel everything but hold nothing too tightly, because everything you love is borrowed. Life doesn't owe you anyone. The Stoic doesn't shut down his heart. He just refuses to build his soul around things that can vanish. And in this world, everything can. Think about the man who crumbles when his relationship ends. He gave her his whole identity. Now she's gone and so is he. That's not love, that's emotional addiction. The Stoic man doesn't love like that. He gives his love freely, powerfully, but he keeps his center rooted in something no one can take from him. His character, his virtue, his strength. He loves with open hands, not clenched fists, because he knows the tighter you grip something temporary, the more it hurts when it's gone. And it will be gone, one way or another. So let go, not of love, but of possession. That's how a man becomes unbreakable. That's how he turns pain into perspective. That's how he walks through life with strength, even when life takes what he loves. Number 5, Stoic love is grounded in rationality, not emotion alone. Modern love stories are built on chaos. We're told that love means obsession, that if you're not losing sleep, breaking rules, or going insane for someone, then it's not real. You see it in the movies. The guy sacrifices everything, destroys his life, chases the girl across airports, rain pouring, heart pounding. But that's not love. That's emotional slavery. The Stoics had a different code. They believed that love without reason is just madness dressed in perfume. Epictetus once said, "Attach yourself to what is spiritually superior, regardless of what or who it is." Real love, by Stoic standards, isn't blind. It sees clearly. It asks the hard questions. Is this person helping me live according to my values? Do they bring clarity or confusion? Do they strengthen my discipline or unravel it? Because if the person you're with is pulling you further away from your best self, it's not love, it's weakness. It's a beautiful poison. And no matter how good it tastes, it will ruin you from the inside. Think of a man who has big dreams. He's disciplined, consistent, making progress. Then he falls for someone who thrives on chaos, jealousy, games, endless arguments. He starts to lose focus, skips workouts, stops building, becomes emotionally reactive. That's not love. That's corrosion. Stoic love is a fire that warms you, not one that burns your house down. It's not about drama. It's about direction. It's about building something with someone who honors your mind, not just your feelings, because feelings come and go. But a woman who respects your soul and your standards, that's rare. And that's Stoic. Number 6. Stoics didn't avoid romance. They elevated it. Most people misunderstand Stoicism. They hear emotional control and assume it means suppressing love, avoiding relationships, or becoming cold and disconnected. But that's not Stoicism. That's cowardice dressed in self-righteousness. The truth is, Stoics didn't run from love. They just refused to drown in it. They didn't reject romance. They refined it. They took all the chaos, the insecurity, the emotional highs and lows, and replaced it with something stronger, something built to last, shared virtue. Seneca wasn't a monk. He was a man who loved deeply, and yet he never let that love blind him to reason. His wife Paulina was a companion in his philosophical journey. She stayed by his side even in his final moments, and he honored her courage. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor philosopher, was no stranger to loss or longing. He had a wife, Faustina, and though their relationship had its trials, he stayed committed to his family, not out of emotional dependency, but out of duty, loyalty, and wisdom. This wasn't the love of poets. It was the love of warriors, strong, grounded, and enduring. In Stoicism, love isn't about obsession. It's not about completing each other. It's about walking beside each other. Two souls forged by fire, walking the same path toward virtue. You don't seek someone to fix your broken pieces. You seek someone to build with. That's the kind of love a Stoic honors. Not lust, not drama, but partnership with purpose. So don't let modern cynicism make you numb to romance, and don't let false Stoicism make you cold. Real Stoic love is fierce because it's built on strength, not weakness. Number 7. Stoicism heals the broken heart. There's no pain quite like a broken heart. The silence after a goodbye, the sting of betrayal from someone you trusted, the crushing feeling when the person you gave your soul to walks away like it meant nothing. For many men, this is where they break. They spiral into anger, addiction, or numbness, chasing distractions to escape the unbearable emptiness. But a Stoic man stands in that pain, not because he enjoys it, but because he understands something deeper. Pain is a teacher, not a curse. Instead of asking, "Why did she do this to me?" a Stoic asks, "What is this here to teach me?" Maybe you ignored red flags because you were desperate for love. Maybe you made someone your purpose, forgetting your own. That heartbreak becomes sacred ground. It strips you down to the raw truth. Your peace cannot depend on someone else's presence. As Epictetus said, it's not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Rejection doesn't break you. It reveals what part of you needs strengthening. Real strength is not the absence of emotion. It's the refusal to let emotion rule your life. Feel the pain. Sit in the sadness, but never worship it. Don't become the man who lets heartbreak poison his purpose. Instead, become the man who transforms heartbreak into wisdom. Because as Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. That's not just a quote, it's a challenge. When love leaves you, don't lose yourself. Rise, not in bitterness, but in discipline. That's how a Stoic heals and becomes unstoppable. Number 8. Lust can be controlled without being repressed. Let's talk about lust, not as a taboo, not as something dirty or shameful, but as one of the most misunderstood forces in a man's life. Lust is raw energy, it's primal, it's powerful. And when left unchecked, it can turn a man into a slave to his impulses. But the Stoics didn't preach repression. They weren't monks hiding from the world. They walked through life like warriors, aware of temptation, but not controlled by. To Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That's the game. Not to kill desire, but to tame it, like a fire you control instead of one that burns your life down. Think about the times you chased women out of emptiness, not love, not purpose, but to fill a hole inside you. You ghosted responsibilities, wasted energy, maybe even hurt people you never meant to. That wasn't strength. That was weakness dressed up in dopamine. Lust becomes toxic when it turns you into a beggar for attention, when it clouds your judgment, or when you use another human being as a tool for ego validation. That's not Stoic, that's chaotic. But here's the twist. Lust also reveals your truth. It shows you what you're craving: connection, power, affection, or control. And that's where you start the real work. A Stoic man doesn't run from lust, he studies it. He sits with it like a soldier sharpening a blade. He asks, why do I feel this now? What am I lacking? Instead of obeying it blindly, he uses it like a mirror. That moment of arousal, its feedback, that impulse to chase, it's a signal. You don't need to suppress it, but you sure as hell don't need to bow to it. You pause, you observe, and then you decide, as a man, not as a puppet. Self-control isn't weakness, it's the highest form of strength, because the man who can master lust can master anything. Number 9. Modern dating would shock the Stoics. If Marcus Aurelius were to scroll through Tinder, he might not even recognize it as dating. The endless swipes, the dopamine hits, the hookup culture masked as connection. It's a circus of distraction dressed up as desire. He'd probably pause and ask, you call this love? Or is it just a performance to avoid being alone? In the Stoic world, relationships weren't games. They were serious, intentional, and rooted in the shared pursuit of virtue. You didn't give your heart to someone just because you were bored or because it was convenient. You gave it because there was alignment of values, of purpose, of character. Let's be real. Modern dating has become more about validation than connection. Men chase women to prove something to themselves. Women swipe for attention they never intend to act on. Ghosting has replaced communication. Lust has replaced love. And ego has replaced authenticity. But here's what the Stoics knew. Anything done without intention is slavery. If you date to numb your emptiness, you'll only deepen it. If you chase to feel wanted, you'll become addicted to approval. Seneca warned that no man is free who is a slave to his passions, and today many men are enslaved by the chase, mistaking quantity for quality and attention for affection. So what's the Stoic path forward? It's this: choose deliberately. Don't entertain someone just because they're attractive. Ask if their presence strengthens your character. Don't enter a relationship because you're afraid to be alone. Stand firm in your solitude until you meet someone worthy of your strength. Love, to a Stoic, wasn't just a feeling. It was a practice of virtue, honesty, courage, respect, discipline. And if you have to walk alone because no one aligns with your values, walk like a king. Because the man who refuses to settle radiates a power no cheap romance can offer. Number 10. Real love requires courage, not comfort. Finally, Stoics understood that real love is not easy. It requires facing your fears, your ego, your insecurities. It requires showing up daily, not just when it feels good. It means choosing truth over fantasy, peace over chaos, growth over comfort. That's why Stoic love isn't for everyone. It's not made for the weak-hearted. It's for those who want to love without losing themselves. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Apply that to love and everything changes. Conclusion. So are Stoics cold? No, they're clear. They love deeply but never blindly. They respect desire but don't obey it. They value romance, but only when rooted in virtue. In a world full of lust, confusion, and emotional chaos, the Stoic way is a path back to truth. It's not about avoiding love. It's about choosing it wisely and living it powerfully. If you found value in this Stoic perspective on love and lust, comment below, "I choose virtue over impulse." Subscribe to Stoic 95 for more ancient wisdom on modern problems, and share this with someone who's tired of toxic love and ready to love like a Stoic. Because real love isn't cold. It's calm, it's powerful, it's free,